Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining me on Stories with a Bast. There once was a great far off kingdom, and in that kingdom there was a king and a queen, and that king and queen had a son. Now, that son grew up spoiled and rich, and as he grew up, he came of age and became in need of a wife. So the king and queen sent out messengers looking for a wife for their son, for they would need a queen to take their place one day. So women came from far and wide, but in the kingdom, in the village where the castle sat, there was a man who had a daughter, and the daughter was of marrying age. So he took his daughter to the court to present her as a potential future queen. And the king and queen looked at her. Well, she was rather poor and low of garb and dress, but they saw her beauty deep down, and so they said, "Well, what is your value? What can you bring to this kingdom?" And she said, "I can bring gold." And they said, "Can you spin straw out of gold, my dear?" And they took her up to this great tall tower and locked her in there with nothing but a spinning wheel and a pile of straw. And she was to spin this straw into gold, which, as we all know, is an impossible task. Well, this girl, she spun the straw and she spun the straw, but never did it turn to gold. And she cried and she wailed and she wept, and she hoped and she prayed and she yelled and screamed, and eventually a man appeared, a short little ugly man, all green and wrinkled, and he said, "Oh, my dear, what are you screaming and wailing about? For I am here, and I can solve all your problems." And the girl said, "Well, you see, ugly man," and he said, "Ho, ho, ho, do not call me this thing, I am here to help." She said, "Well, ugly man, you are ugly for sure, but I must spin this straw into gold, and I have no way of doing this." Well, the man said he could help her for sure, but what would she give him in return? And she promised him her firstborn child. And so he said, "Yes, I will take your firstborn child in exchange for making this straw into gold for you. You must only spin this straw on this wheel, and from now on it will turn to gold, and your prince will love you for it." So the girl spun and she spun, but she grew tired, and eventually the girl fell asleep. And in crept a great goat through the window, and ate up all the straw. When the girl woke the next morning, the straw was all gone, and so was the goat. The girl knew nothing about it. And in a castle far away, this ugly little man who had promised the gold straw for the firstborn child, he knew that something had happened. He appeared before the girl, and he said, "Where's the straw, and where is the gold?" And she said, "I do not know. It had disappeared overnight as I slept." So he thumped and he grumped and he ran away, disappearing back to his castle. Now when he appeared back at his castle, there sat a little nugget of gold in all his chairs. There were nuggets of gold all over his castle, little pellets, all pure gold. So he followed them, and he followed them up to his great tall tower. And at the top he saw a goat, surrounded by little pellets of gold. And he said, "Goat, what has become of the hay and the gold, and why are there pellets all over my castle?" And the goat said, "Bah! I have eaten the straw that the girl was meant to spin, and turned them into gold myself. Now here is your gold, and be damned, you shall not have her firstborn child." And that is the story of how Rumpelstiltskin lost a bet against a goat.